everyone, and welcome to episode 25 of the Give 'em Heck podcast. I'm Brian. This is your host, Penny. Want to make a few quick announcements. So first of all, want to apologize, if we haven't already, to our viewers for not uploading at our normal scheduled times. Usually we record on Friday. That way episodes are at least up by like late Friday or early Saturday. But real life happens. So it's been preventing us from uploading at our normal time. So apologies for that. We do want to be more consistent. So we're working with some things, but I just don't want to make any promises. In a perfect world, we're going to be up recording on Saturday. That way everything is up till at least Saturday night or early Sunday. But obviously this week didn't work out that way, which is fine. But we just don't want you guys to think we're not taking this seriously anymore, because we definitely are. We want this to be a thing. But, like I said, real life happens. Also, for those of you that have subscribed to our YouTube and any other platform that you listen to us on, thank you so much for that. Please continue to share and like. It really does help us out. And for people that watch casually that haven't subscribed, please do. And also join our X, as we're going to start making announcements on there, like when we'll be recording and stuff like that. We want to keep more in contact with you guys to keep you in the loop. So if this is something you like and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We'll be very happy to have you here as part of the family. And like I said, join our X as well. That's everything I had, unless there was something else that I can't remember.
Yep. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to say was that we had our first live stream last week.
That's right, we did.
And with that being said, I know some of you may not have seen that, like on Spotify. Yeah. Or maybe some other platforms. So if you are on here and you see this one, you can go back to our YouTube channel and watch that. It is up and posted on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
That was our first live stream, and we're hoping to do more.
Yes, thank you for everybody who watched that. It was
fun.
It was fun. It was a good success, and we definitely want to do that more. We in a perfect world, we want to start doing that every other week. So this is episode 25. Next week we're also going to be doing another live. But we're going to kind of mix up the formula a little bit, where last one was more casual.
Yes.
Even though we did have a conversation. We want to make the live streams an episode as well, but not have it tied
to this one,
to this. Yeah, because these episodes go up everywhere, like not just YouTube. They go up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. They go up everywhere. Where the live streams, I tried to do a separate recording on top of it to like be able to send it to those other platforms, but for some reason my computer was like, your camera's already in use with another platform, so I couldn't do it. I'm sure there is a way to do it, but I tried everything I could, and I couldn't get the camera to work under two separate applications. But so for those of you that have subscribed to our other platforms, please come to our YouTube and check the lives, and of course you can watch and share our videos here as well. But we're not going to forget about everybody else. If you listen on Spotify, if you listen on other platforms, we're not abandoning you. We're going to still upload standard episodes. It's just every other week. Come here.
Right. Because
if you want to continue with it, we're going to number them differently. Last week's episode didn't have a designated episode per se. It was more just come chill. Where next week's episode, being alive, is going to actually be numbered. It's going to be its own series. It'll still have the same kind of ties to what we do here. It's going to be its own thing. So yeah, please come join us on those lives. We're going to be, with the live streams, we're going to be making announcements on X of when we're going to be going live. Usually, I'd like to think maybe around 6 Eastern Standard Time, if you're in other time zones.
Yeah, that
So,
seemed to be a good time to work.
yeah, that way it gives people time to eat their dinner and then
Get
come
settled.
and enjoy and get settled. So feel free to come join us during the weekends. Like I said, we'll be definitely doing that live again. It was a great success. Thank you for everybody who watched.
And joined in on the
joined
conversation.
in.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's going to be cool because what we want to do is we're going to do it like a normal episode, but we're also going to have at the end, for those of you that are familiar with this, usually my mother will ask me a question towards the end. Well, periodically throughout the episode, we'll give you guys an opportunity to, respond to the questions.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be more interactive, which is what we're really looking forward to. So we hope to see you in our live streams.
Yeah. And I think that's it.
I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah,
It's a lot.
it is a lot.
It is a lot, but it's okay.
It is.
We love it.
We like
We
I said
really like
earlier,
it.
we really wanna make something of this.
Right.
Get better,
Right.
possibly better equipment, and
And I know we are
Move up.
helping other people because they tell me.
yeah, and that's a good thing. It's always good to have a platform that's giving people advice they need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear.
Yep. That's what
Yeah.
works best.
Absolutely. All right. Well, if we're all set,
I think
let's
we're
get
all
the,
set.
Let's get the rock rolling.
Okay. So, like Brian said, we are on episode 25. Again, welcome all of our regular viewers and welcome to any new viewers. Again, just if you could remember to like, share, subscribe, turn on any notifications so that you'll know what we're doing, where we are, when the next episode is up, and to let you know so you don't miss any of the episodes. So, here we go.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. So I know last week was a live, and so it would have been the week before that. So now we're going back a little ways. Hopefully you can remember. In our last episode, we talked about Forged in the Fire.
I remember that episode.
Okay. So I asked you, what does Forged in the Fire mean to you? And do you remember what you said? It was really good.
Oh, maybe not word for word, but
Right.
I remember the crux of it is like being molded through the trials of life,
Mm-hmm.
being put through, have your money where your mouth is, kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you gave the, and this is what I liked about it, I think, because that's why I remembered it, was you explained an explanation of the swords.
Oh, yeah.
I really
How-
liked that because I don't know much about that. And I
Yeah.
know you do because you love swords. And I was like, wow, you're even naming swords I don't even have a clue about. But how they work in tandem to like people and situations. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, another thing I can add to it too is like no two swords are alike. Fire has to be at a different temperature. It has to be settled in the oil longer.
Really?
Like claymores typically are really large swords, two-handed weapons,
Okay.
where like katanas are typically one-handed.
Okay.
So not all, but there are some short katanas, short swords, stuff like that. So every weapon can be an allegory for allegories. I don't know if that's the right word, but like an example of every person.
Yeah.
The fire doesn't have to be the same for everybody. So everybody has to be molded and crafted differently through trial, through struggle, and how you choose to come out of that fire and put in the world, aka the oil, can help you shape yourself into something that was without shape, all of a sudden being the perfect tool.
And when you mention about the temperature being different for everybody, it just brought to mind like everybody's trial is different,
Exactly.
and everybody deals with those trials differently.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Everybody deals with pain and struggle differently, and that's okay.
Yeah.
If anything, it shows good resolution for those who come through hotter flames to reach the end.
Wow.
And that's kind of like what my mindset is when it comes to, life in general, is that you can either let it destroy you or you can let it build you. And everything comes down to a choice. You can tell who's given up. You know what I'm saying? You can tell who let the fire deform them as opposed to make them.
Wow.
And iron sharpens iron, so it takes a good person who knows how to deal with life. Like, why I get so many people coming to me for help is because I know the struggle that a lot of people go through.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have somebody who's been through it, you can either gather around in a big pile and share your misery with each other, or you can get around that same pile and be like, let's make something out of you.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. That's good, Brian. There you go. Okay, so I also gave the definition of forged in the fire, and it is an idiom meaning that someone or something has been made stronger or more resilient through intense difficulty, hardship, or struggle. The phase originates from the process of forging metal when intense heat and hammering shape and harden into a stronger, more durable object. When applied to people or relationships, it suggests the adversity has a refining and strengthening effect, leading to greater resilience and a deeper sense of purpose. So I like how in the definition of forged in the fire, Brian, it suggests that adversity has a refining and strengthening effect, leading to a greater resilience and deeper sense of purpose. The deeper sense of purpose is something that we're going to look at tonight in our new podcast, but it also alludes to living with purpose by making positive daily choices. And you mentioned that earlier, that everything is a choice. And expressing your values through actions and fostering growth.
Yep.
So I believe, Brian, when you are forged in the fire, that two things come out of it: purpose and change. And honestly, I don't think it's a bad thing. It can definitely leave you with a lot of questions. I think you can find your purpose in being forged in the fire, although that may take a little bit of time. But the change is something that I think can happen more quickly. But one thing that I have found is that by being forged in the fire, it has left me with a lot of questions.
Mm.
And you and I have talked about that before. Do you want to add anything at this point?
Yes. It definitely breaking into a whole new dynamic of life can definitely lead to questions. And that's okay. It's always good to have questions. I think it's actually a better thing to be questioning, question everything. Don't ever take anything face value. Even when it comes to life's choices, it shows the complexity of life and that there's a deeper meaning to everything. You can't just look at like a headline on the news. You can't just look at it and it says something and be like, oh, wow, that's terrible. Well, what led to that?
Right.
And then one question leads to another.
Right.
Like, it's like I think I said in another episode, it's like there's always a truth somewhere.
Yes.
And, like I said, it's important to ask questions because then you'll find the truth. A person who doesn't want to find the truth is the person that just takes everything face value.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
You can't do that.
And I think a lot of times, Brian, people don't because the hole is deep, friend.
It is, and I think I've even alluded to this in another episode where I think people are afraid of it because it'll mess up their way of life. It'll mess up their mindset, and people don't like that, cognitive dissonance. And, I had some friends who have been through far worse than me, far worse. And, by the end of it, they feel like they have absolutely nothing, and it could be anything from like a physical disaster, a mental disaster, a home life disaster, and they think, well, I have nothing left now. What's the point? That's a choice you're making right there to give up.
Right.
and I'm not trying to undermine their issues, because I've been told some pretty, there's probably nothing anybody could tell me that would shock me. And not to say that in the sense of it doesn't bother me. I mean it in the sense of life is never as simple as we make it out to be.
No.
So when I hear an incredibly tragic thing, I don't go, oh, wow, that's unfortunate. No, I empathize with that person, and I try to bring them back into another side of the curtain, because for me, I've experienced some pretty bad things in my life, and instead of allowing that bad thing to overcome my emotions and bring me to a darker place, I've used it to amplify my helping hand, essentially. I use the pain to lift others up.
Right.
Especially those who have been through the same thing.
Purpose.
And that's what I encourage people to do. Like, think of the worst possible thing that's ever happened in your life. Instead of thinking of it as, well, this is in the world. Instead of thinking of it as, woe is me, think of it as, how can I use my terrible, terrible thing to help others who have gone through similar things?
Yep.
To show them that they're not alone. To me, that's much more powerful than somebody who loses everything and just gives up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy to do. Nobody can just wake up in the morning and say, well, I just lost my home.
Yeah.
It's not easy. You have to build yourself back up from the bottom, and it's the journey of how you do it that brings you back to a position where you can comfortably not only help yourself, because that's what's most important. You got to help yourself first. If you can't help yourself first, you can't help the person next to you. You can try, but how are you going to be able to help them if you don't have all the answers? Because that's what, like, for me, the things that I've been through. I didn't go through my tragedies and just all of a sudden say, oh, well, this bad thing happened to me. Time to go help that person who went through the exact same thing. No. I put them aside, and I built myself up. It's like building a home. Where do you always start?
The foundation.
Always start at the bottom up.
Yeah. So, we've talked about, well, I've told you, Brian, that everything changed for me after my mom passed away. And I felt like when Mom passed, that's where I was being forged in the fire, right? And because we've talked a little bit about already, two things that come out of it is purpose and change. And I think that's what you're alluding to. When you're going through it, it's hard to see what is the purpose. But like you just said, eventually things have to change, right? So I want to give a little bit of context to that, because I know I have mentioned that in the past before, that is kind of where in life, after Mom passed away, and I was more through a lot of the grief and other things from it. This is where the questioning started coming in. So to give a little bit of context, here it is. So what made me start to question everything is that, and you and I have talked about this, Brian. So I was always brought up being told this one thing that would essentially keep Mom from dying. It was part of my upbringing. I guess you could say it was part of my faith. And this one thing that I was always told, and I never questioned it, because you normally don't question your faith, right? Your upbringing. Most people don't, I guess. I don't know, maybe some people do. I know you do. You question everything. But I didn't. So I thought, well, everything's going to be fine, because, you know, I've got this I can believe in because it's supposed to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It didn't. So when it didn't work and Mom passed away, this is when I started questioning everything. I mean, everything that I believed in. And you mentioned early, Brian, that it changes your paradigm, right? It's scary because now I'm thinking, what should I believe in? What's real? What isn't? What's truth? What's a lie?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
So, and on our podcast today, actually, it's going to get deeper into that. I guess I'll ask you this. Do you believe when you start questioning things that you can begin to find your purpose?
Yes, you can find purpose and truth in anything that you choose to question, because it's not a matter about, to me, it's not about finding a truth or my truth. It's about finding the truth, regardless of how uncomfortable it makes me feel. Because with discomfort shows problem with the self, and it brings you into a place where you can humble yourself by discovering the truth that will ultimately set you free.
Okay. How do you know when you have found the truth? Because, you know, taking what I just said with you with Mom, right? I never questioned it because I thought it was the truth. And then when it didn't happen, I'm like, am I living a lie?
I guess it depends on the context of, you know, what exactly it is you're questioning. But I mean, ultimately, yes, you will find the truth that you seek. It just depends on how far you're willing to go. Some answers come up faster than others. Some answers take years to discover. I mean, I know I seem to sit here like I have it all figured out, which I don't. But there are still things that I question to this day, things that I don't know. And I know that if I continue digging, eventually I'll find the treasure. You know, there was like a poster I seen at a business one day. It showed two guys digging down a tunnel.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. And right before the top one got to the gold, he turned around and gave up, where the guy at the bottom kept going and finally struck gold. It's like that. It just takes time. It takes patience. It takes diligence. It takes discipline. It takes a strong person
It does.
to find the truth. And then it takes an even stronger person to accept that truth.
Bingo. And see, that's where I'm at right now. I'm still searching for a lot of answers, Brian, because you have to understand, and I know you do, because I talk to you about this stuff a lot, but as a child, when you're brought up in this and you're told certain things your whole life and you don't question it, and then all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you're starting to rethink everything. You mentioned earlier it can be scary. It sure can. And there's been things that I've been questioning that I've pulled away from because I'm like, I don't know if I want to know the answer. Because you know what? Once I do, it changes everything.
And I don't know how this will make you feel, but
good. Like I don't have enough going on.
Based on the stuff that I've learned, a lot of times things that you grow up with that you start to question as you grow, without trying to sound like I'm being mean, I think that's your parents' fault.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them bad parents.
No.
It just it shows how
it's trust.
Well, it's like, I think I gave this example too of like where you tell your child not to touch the top of the stove, and they ask you why, and you just say, because I said so. That's not an answer. That's an excuse.
Yep.
If you tell your child because that is incredibly hot and you will burn yourself, opening your child up to the truth is what helps them realize that there are consequences to actions and that there's a deeper meaning to everything, as opposed to just because I said so. And it applies to everything that you are told in life, growing up and even sometimes as an adult. You can't just take things for face value, because that doesn't build character. That builds a false trust. It builds a false truth. Why can't I put my hand on the stove? Because Dad said I couldn't. Yeah, but why? I don't know.
Right. Well, and you just said it's not I don't think it's the parents' fault. I know you said it was, but this is how I look at it. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I grew up from my whole life basically. And I don't think my parents did it on purpose or maliciously, because they trusted it too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they never questioned it.
It was their truth.
It was their truth. And why would I question my parents even at a very young age? Because the thing is I trusted them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything bad. That's not what I'm saying. What happened is that one thing in life that rocked my world. And when Mom passed away, it's like, now it just turned over a rock.
And see, that's what I mean, is when you have I don't want to call it a false reality, but like, I guess a comfortable reality. When tragedy happens or something terrible happens, it brings you to that point of questioning everything. You know? And it can definitely wear your world down. And that's what I'm saying. Had your parents maybe did the same things but did it differently, it probably would have brought you to a place where it was good to question, where it was good to, for lack of a better phrase, rise against the system. You know, context is important on anything. So I guess it would depend on the things that you question or the decisions made with those questions. Like we said, the rabbit hole's deep, you know?
Are you saying that it would have happened sooner or later anyway?
Yeah, it would have happened sooner or later, because there's always that point in a person's life where all of a sudden they kind of snap into another form of thinking, or I like to use the term wake up. You know, some people wake up sooner than others. But that's all in upbringing, and I'm not saying somebody who sees things differently later in life is a bad thing. It's how you react to it that can lead to a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay. Today's podcast is going to go deeper into it, like I said, so we'll get there. So, I had asked you, do you believe that when you start questioning things, you can begin to find your purpose? You said yes. So here's my next question. We're still in last week's podcast, kind of reviewing is, so how and where do you think one goes from here, Brian? So looking at my situation where I've shared a little bit, and I'll share more as we go. I'm just not comfortable yet because I'm still working on some things myself with this. But where does one go from here? Do you keep questioning? Do you... Because like I said, there's been things that I've been researching out, and you know what we've been researching, and I've pulled away because I'm like, I can't handle that right now. That's too much.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best thing to do?
For me, when I find something that makes me uncomfortable, I keep digging, because to me, the uncomfort shows that you're finding something.
Well,
because again, it's like going back to what I said in a prior episode. It's like staying in your bubble.
yeah, comfortable.
Being comfortable.
Yeah.
For me, comfort's good, but I want to discover what is making me uncomfortable. It's like questioning my questions, you know? And if I see something that makes me uncomfortable, I don't run away from it. I run towards it, because to me, that shows determination, and it shows... To me, it's a good indicator of courage. Somebody who's willing to change their paradigm on everything. Because if you live comfortably your entire life, it's possible. You can live comfortably your whole life and not question things. Sure. I'm not sitting here and saying that the path I took is the path everybody should take. I'm saying that if you find yourself unhappy with how things are, question that. Or you can choose to wallow in it. You know, everything is a choice. So it depends on your level of wanting to know why, you know, challenging the status quo, you know, things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, because to me, what makes you cringe is the very thing that makes my ears perk up, you know, because it brings me closer to not only discovering truth, but becoming a better person from it.
Yeah, I know. And I've been talking to you about this, and I know everything you're saying is true because you've been handling this so much better than me. And it's not that I'm not afraid to question. What I think I'm afraid of, Brian, is the answers, of finding the truth through this.
And what's wrong with that?
Because there's going to have to be an acceptance of, now you got to deal with the lies.
Well, what if the truth you seek is the truth you wanted all along? It's like that example I gave you with the butterfly. You can stay in your cocoon, or you can branch out and have wings.
It's uncomfortable.
Well, of course. Of course it's uncomfortable. Nobody ever said it would be.
Who wants to know that? I'm not saying that I was lied to on purpose. I'm just saying.
Well, see what it does to you. That comfort of that lie, or that false truth, is that it brought you to a place now where you're more afraid of finding the truth that could set you free, as opposed to just staying where you are.
I know.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll move on.
Being forged in that.
I know. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it never seems to...
No one ever said making a sword was easy. But the masterpiece that comes out of it.
Mm-hmm. So I left you guys with a quote last week, and or not last week, but the week before when we did the podcast, and it was, there are some things you can only learn in a storm. And like I told you, my forging time was, you know, when I lost Mom, and for a long time after, because it changed a lot of things that's even brought me to this point right here. So now we're going to go into today's podcast, where we're going to discuss purpose in the fire. So what does purpose in the fire mean to you, Brian? So now you've been forged, now there's purpose.
I'd say it goes along with what I said earlier about finding a way to use your trials to be a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Finding your purpose, achieving your goal through that fire,
Mm-hmm.
is what it means to me.
Okay. So some of the changes that I've been experiencing are through the questions that I've been asking myself, and I'm going to ask you these questions too. So, like, here's your first one. My God. Do you ever feel like there's more to life?
How do I answer that realistically? Because of course I could say, yeah, of course there's more to life, but that's a boring a boring answer.
I want you to think deep. You know, this is so much more than what I'm saying, Brian.
Let me put it to you like this. Life is what you make it. Life can be simple. Of course it can. Life can also be complex, if you allow it to be. Depends on how far down that rabbit hole you want to go.
But haven't you ever felt within yourself, even deeper than that there's more to this life? Even deeper. Like I understand.
I personally think so, yes.
Okay.
I personally think so. I think there's depending on the, it's different for everybody. But if I was to put a blanket over this and say, yes, there's always an end goal that you never expected, or a path that you never seen before, or for lack of anything different than what I was saying, it's like there's always, how do I explain it? The path goes deep into the mountain, but you have to be the one to find it.
Right.
Or you have to be the one to pursue it.
Right.
There's always more to life than what you think.
Exactly. Because I understand when you said it about what you make it.
When I say that,
it's deeper
I mean,
than that, friend. It has to be.
And what I mean by that is that, of course, like I said, I could just give a generalized statement, say, yeah, life's more than what we think it is. Of course. I'd be ignorant to say it isn't. But it depends on how far the individual is willing to go. Because it's like, if I was to see a brand new road that so far showed me new things, I could keep going down it and find new things, or I could turn right around and head back and be content with where I am. Okay. That's what I mean when I say life is what you make it.
Right.
When you ask me the question of, is there more to life than what we think? My generalized answer is absolutely, 100%. But can you handle that?
That was going to be my next question. Do you think many people explore that, like what you and I are starting to do?
Not as many as I'd like to see.
No, because it's a comfort thing, right?
It's a comfort thing. It's a confusing thing.
Yes.
It brings people to, like we going back to our introduction, it's like it brings people to an uncomfortable place. And people need, for me, if I ever had children, I'd tell them that it's like, question everything. Don't ever be content, because if you're content in your ideologies, your beliefs, your opinions, it brings you to a roadblock. Like, I absorb all kinds of information on a daily basis. If I go down a tunnel and it ends, I dig, And
you're not scared of it either. That's what.
Nope. Because I want to know. That's my purpose, is to know.
Okay, so here's my next question. Now, I want this to go along with the first one I just asked you, but think it on a deeper level. Mm-hmm. Okay, not a blanket. So I asked you, do you ever feel like there's more to life? So this kind of goes along with it. Do you ever feel trapped?
No. Me personally, no. I can't speak for our viewers. I can't speak for anybody else. For me, no.
Really?
Yeah.
See, now I guess I'll use this example. So now that I'm questioning, like that situation that I was talking about with Mom, that I was always brought up being told that this one thing that would keep her from dying, and it didn't. To me, when I look at it now, that would make me feel trapped. And now I feel like I'm kind of breaking out of that. So you never feel trapped?
No, because the thing that I could say for your situation, and I'm not trying to project myself into your situation, because the things you went through were completely different than me. But allowing yourself to become trapped with the questions you have is you trying to hold on to things that you didn't want to let go of.
Why do you think I would want to do that?
I don't think it's a matter of you wanted to. I think it's a matter of you didn't know what to do. That's why I always encourage people, break through that barrier, because you trying to find comfort with your new reality is you trying desperately to just stop,
Yeah.
It's like sliding down an icy hill.
Yeah.
You feel trapped in that moment even though you're still moving,
That's a great analogy.
Yeah. But for me, instead of trying to fight against the slide,
You enjoy it?
not necessarily, but I try to control it. It's controlled chaos. It's you trying to go with the slide to make the impact more
Okay.
sustainable.
So,
It's like an example I can give at work. So we had a car that was going to auction, right? And nobody had written on this vehicle that its brakes were gone. So when I got in it and started up, my garage where I clean the cars is down a pretty steep little incline into the garage. So like I said, I didn't know the brakes were gone. So, I drove up to my garage and I started going down that hill and I went to hit the brakes, nothing. E-brake, nothing. So I could have done one of two things. I could have panicked, or I could have taken control of that situation and try to make the damage as minimal as possible. So I took advantage of some tires that were at the end of the wall, and I steered into them and caused zero damage to anything. And then what happened next is I went upstairs and confronted the person who parked that car and had them face accountability. And I did.
and he did.
And that's a good example of my point. Controlled chaos. You can use it to strengthen yourself and strengthen your resolve to make decisions that will lead you to a softer impact. Or I could have easily panicked and locked up and just sent the car careening into some hot water boilers that we have down there. It's all about knowing how to guide yourself down a path of control and satisfaction while also facing uncomfortable positions. And for a person who can find that resolve, takes time. 10 years ago, if that same situation happened to me, I probably would have panicked. But because I had had so much experience with vehicles, I used the situation and say, well, I have no brakes, but I can still steer. So, and even if something tragic happened, if massive damage would have occurred, or I would have gotten hurt, I would have gone into a position of, now I gotta deal with this. Not, woe is me, why me,
Right.
Because to me, the moment even though I technically would have been a victim, if I played the victim, that leads me nowhere.
Right. It never does. Wow. So here's my next question.
A lot of questions today.
There are. Do you ever feel like there is more to who you are?
Oh, yeah, there's always...
Go deep, friend.
A person who indulges with their own reality is a person who is willing to be content with who they are now. See, me, I like to be a person who's constantly changing, who's constantly adapting, who's constantly learning. And I don't know if I said that twice. That completely went over my head. But regardless, if it's like, it's again like with beliefs, right? Belief is what molds you. If you question that belief, regardless of what that belief is, if you question that, it can change who you are. And depending on what you choose to follow, can either stunt your potential or build upon it.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's all about mindset, belief, opinions, ideas, you name it. To me, somebody who is solidified in their beliefs is somebody who has completely stunted their potential. Because to me, a human being, a person, is so much more than what they are. That's why I value human life above all else. But choices make a person. And they can make or break a person. So, depending on where you're willing to go with yourself is an opportunity to either build or, at the very best, stay where you are. To me, that's boring.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going because this is getting deep. Okay, so I've always said to you that there has to be more to life than this, right? And I'm talking about more on a deeper level. So when I say more to life, this is what I mean, Brian. I mean, life feels like living Groundhog Days. So I'm sure maybe you've seen the movie Groundhog Day. Maybe you haven't. It's an older movie. But basically, it's about this guy that wakes up every morning and every day is the same. Nothing ever changes. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say there has to be more to life. I don't think life was supposed to be lived like this. And I don't even really know what I mean when I say that, but it's so mundane. Do you feel that way?
I think if you live life according to the status quo, yeah. Wake up, go to work, come home. Wake up, go to work, come home.
Sure, but that's a choice. So can there be more?
Oh, yeah. I've heard many stories of people who say, you know, screw it, I'm going to go do something completely different today, and a whole new aspect of reality opens up for them. And I think a person who lives within that mundaneness of life is somebody who I've heard some people say that they want life to change, but they won't do anything about it.
And I think it depends on what you mean by change, how far you're willing to go, what you're looking at. So when I say feel trapped, I mean running on a hamster wheel. Sometimes that's how I feel life is.
Or sliding down an icy
It's
hill.
just-
You're heading somewhere,
But you're going nowhere.
but you're going nowhere. Yeah. You feel trapped in that moment. And yeah, it's true. You can living life it's a good example, in a hamster wheel. It doesn't lead you to anything. You're just working yourself out for nothing.
That's what I mean. It's just mundane over and over. And I don't think that this is the way it was supposed to be. And again, I'm alluding to when Mom passed away. It really opened up that Pandora's box for me. And it's going deep. And sometimes it's scary.
Doesn't have to be.
No, but it's going to change a lot of things for me.
And is that okay?
I don't want to say that it's going to have to be because it never has to be. But is that okay? I guess I'm going to have to learn to do a lot of accepting.
See, it's almost to me like you're trying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost seems to me like you're afraid to break those walls. Like you work so hard to build that castle made of sand that you're afraid of that wave that's going to come destroy it.
It's going to change a lot of things, Brian.
And that's okay. Embrace that. There's nothing wrong with change. It's the problem of not necessarily just accepting the new reality face value. It's about bringing yourself to a position of acceptance with it.
I know.
It's more of a problem with the self than it is the actual problem.
That's right. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I say more to who you are, this is what I mean. Is it possible there is more to us than we think?
Oh, yeah.
So I understand, Brian, when you say everything happens exactly how it's supposed to, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But don't you think there is more?
Well, it's like the example of the terrible tragedies that I talk about. It's like as I've had people come to me with these things, and they say, "Are you trying to tell me that happened exactly the way it was supposed to? Like life already had that set up?" And I look at them and I say, "Yes, and how you react to it is how you can turn something terrible into a masterpiece." how you can build upon the tragedy to, like I said earlier, go out and help others who have been through similar things. I'm not trying to make tragedy seem beautiful, but a glob of clay has to be shapeless before made into a fantastic vase.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that vase will crumble in the making. You can either choose to throw a tantrum with it, or you can start again and possibly create something even better than what you had originally planned.
Okay, so when you say everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to, you believe that, but it's not the situation that happened, it's what you do with that situation.
It's how you respond to it.
And that's
Because every tragedy to me is a choice. It's an opportunity of choice. It's an opportunity of growth. You can either let that problem completely destroy you, or you can let it build you.
wow. So do you think, Brian, that maybe it's about breaking free or waking up?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. So, I believe the answers to these questions, the way to handle it, and this is where I'm at right now. It starts with and is involved with spending time by yourself and asking yourself some deep, complex questions. Now, I do spend a lot of time with you, and we go into some very deep conversations, and that's kind of where I'm going with this. But I think you need to ask yourself the questions, and we talked about the truth and the lies. It's questions that make you go, You know what I mean? Because you had said before that you think that truth doesn't have any layers to it, but a lie does. Like, it has layers because you always have to be asking questions. The truth is just final.
The best way I can kind of clarify that is a lie has layers. The truth has depth.
Explain.
Because you have to dig for it. It's not just a yes or a no thing. And you don't have to build upon truth. You can discover new truths. It's like digging down a mine and finding coal, then finding iron, finding gold, then finding diamond.
Oh, wow. So there's many truths?
No, there's, I guess you could say there's more answers and more truth to be found the deeper you go. Truths to answer or to questions you never thought you had.
Is that going to keep changing things?
It can.
Oh, my God.
It can. It can, if anything, to me, it brings more fulfillment.
So it's not simple. It's not that simple. So
I
even
guess
this,
it depends on the complexity of your questions, you know? Like, obviously, if I said 2 + 2 = 4, the truth is yes. But
okay, I see what
the
you
complexity of your question is, like, what makes the sky blue? You know, you can find out many different things that contribute to that.
Okay, I see what you're doing.
It's not just a one answer question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or why does the sky change color as the sun goes down? You know, you'll find out many different reasons as to why it changes color from this shade to that shade,
Mm-hmm.
or why the sky changes color alongside it. You know, it's discovering, it's building upon truths. Again, it's like building a foundation to a home. You start from the bottom and you work your way up. Where if somebody said, "Why is the sky blue?" somebody could easily just say, "That's the way it is." Well, that's no fun. You know?
You don't like that answer.
Well, it's like having that answer is like, that's just the way it is. That's not a wrong answer, but it leads nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't build upon the curiosity of it all, you know?
Right.
It's like, again, with that example of putting the hand on the stove, because I said so. That's not wrong, but it doesn't lead to anywhere. It doesn't teach anything, you know?
Right. Wow. So one of the questions that I've been pondering, Brian, and it does go along with one of the beliefs that I was brought up with that I'm questioning now because Mom did pass away, is, do you think our words matter? I guess
I need context.
Okay, so I'll add this to you, or add this to it. I believe personally that words are not just a form of communication. I think words can and will change your circumstance. I think words have power. And I think when you can learn how to speak what you want, not what you see or you feel, those things can actually happen.
Well, words have meaning and have power. That's a very complex question. Again, I guess I would need a personal, or not a personal, but like a specific example. But I guess to summarize it generally, because I'm not sure if you want to go very in depth with that, I do believe personally that words can either build walls or tear them down.
Yeah.
And that can be everything from how you form a person throughout their life as they grow up, or how you can destroy their lives. But on the other hand of that coin, it takes a very specific person to question the words, to I guess in a sense control how much power those words have. Because to somebody, they can use their words to bring somebody down, but the other person can use those same words to build themselves up.
Exactly. So
words have power generally, yes, but it depends on how much you're willing to allow it.
Really, you think you and yourself have something to do with that?
My words have power too.
So there is more to you than meets the eye. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
This is very, very deep.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that I'm trying to figure out. And maybe sometime on one podcast, I will share with you that situation with Mom. I'll share it with you when we're done. But I'm not ready yet to do that because, yeah, it's just not time. But this is what I think. I think words can bring change. They can bring life, health, peace, joy, faith, prosperity, and victory. But they can also bring death, sickness, depression, fear, confusion, weakness, and defeat. I think sometimes, Brian, we don't realize how much power our words actually have.
Well, I guess a good example I can give to go alongside that is like, let's use swear words, for example, right? We have been taught our entire lives that swear words are bad, right?
Yeah.
But on the other side of that coin, and hear me out, we say that swear words are bad. We tell our kids not to say them, right? But why are we in our fear allowing those words to have the power that we desperately do not want them to have? You see where I'm getting with that? You see where I'm going?
Keep going.
Because if we allow a word or a phrase or a sentence or a paragraph to have power, we are giving it the power that we don't want it to have. So my result to that is stop treating it like the thing you don't want it to be. Break through that. I'm not saying just start swearing all you want.
That's what I was going to say. So is a swear word not a swear word?
I'm saying that the more or the less attention you give it, the less power it has. Like, what makes that sentence or that phrase or that word or that paragraph? What gives it power?
That's what I want to know. Is it the word or is it you?
It's you.
So who are we? You see what I mean? What are we? I took you right back to that first question.
We are what we want to be, good or bad. We mold ourselves, whether it's through subconscious action or conscious action. You make yourself what you want to be. You form your reality.
So how much power do we actually have?
We have infinite power.
See what I mean?
We can let things destroy us, or we can build something beautiful.
I know, and this is what I'm finding out. And I'm careful. That will be for another podcast.
You see what I mean, though?
But you see where this is going, right?
Yeah.
I think, Brian, honestly, we are so much more than we think we are.
Mm-hmm. And it all starts with you, and with me. We are in control of our own reality. But we have to discover with that power, we have to discover what truths we want to seek that bring us closer to unlocking our potential.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it in a spiritual way. I'm talking about it just in a physical way, because people want more than what they're given. People want to think that, was all this for nothing? You bring them to a position where they realize that the only thing holding them back is themselves. And letting the world around you dictate who you are, or the status quo, is you just sitting there and taking a beating. Which is why, going back to what I've said in either other episodes, I question everything.
Now, you mentioned spiritual. Why can't it be on a spiritual basis?
It can be.
I don't want you to
be.
take that away.
I just, for those of you that are watching that aren't spiritual in any way, shape, or form, I don't want you to think that I'm going down a spiritual path with that.
Okay.
It could be, if you want it to be. But
so many lines.
Exactly. That's why I mean the truth has depth. You are in charge of discovering that truth. Not your truth, not a comfortable truth, the truth. The grand scope of yourself. To realize there's more to you than what you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's part of the problem. In today's world, we have all of a sudden maintained this mentality of it's them versus us, or me versus that person. And before you know it, you've isolated yourself to either a certain group or a certain mindset, and you've put yourself in an echo chamber where you're just hearing what you want to hear.
And nobody's benefiting.
Nobody.
Not even you.
Not even you. If anything, you doing that to yourself is only destroying yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
We have to end the game, because this game is getting us nowhere.
It's true. We're living a hamster wheel.
Exactly. And I'm not saying everyone needs to be unified. I'm not saying that. I'm saying individuality is what builds upon a foundation of unified mindset of truth. It comes to the truth.
It's true. Yes.
It's not their truth versus my truth. It's the truth. And bringing everybody to that centralized idea of understanding what it means to be human. The value of humanity. That's what's important.
Dear God. My head is just
spinning.
So you've often said, Brian, that we are our own worst enemies.
Mm-hmm.
So I ask you, why is it that we have no problem in encouraging others, lifting them up, but when it comes to ourselves, not so much? We don't talk very nice to ourselves.
It's a good question, because a lot of my friends are in that boat. And it could be a multitude of problems, a lack of self-respect, a lack of acknowledging our past through our flaws and our failures. I always try to encourage my friends and people, even not just my friends, but like whenever I hear somebody say, I was like, I keep trying to tell them there's so much more to you than you think, and they keep beating themselves down, and I'm like, what brought you to that?
But why don't we talk that way to ourselves? Why aren't we nice to ourselves? Like, it's easy to encourage others, but why do we beat ourselves up?
It's easy to be self-critical because we think we can do better. No, we can, but the problem is people are stuck in limbo with it. They're stuck in their past. They look at their past problems and they think, this is where I am and I can't get past it. No, every day is new. The problems that you make for yourself are yesterday's problem. How you build upon yourself now, not tomorrow, not next year, not next decade, now. Now is what's important. Forget everything bad you did before and learn from it, and take what you've learned and build on it.
So are you saying that we don't talk very nice to ourselves because our situation isn't the problem, but it's our words that are the problem?
Yeah, and we can use our own words and our own minds to make an image of ourselves that isn't true.
So maybe we make the situation more than what it is by our words.
Yeah, there are consequences to the actions that we've done and words that we say, yes. But like I said, the now is how you can determine where those things lead to.
Are you saying we have control of our situation through our words?
Only you are paving your own road.
It's full circle, friend. You can't get away from this. Questions that make you go, So, I'm going to leave you with this quote, but then there's something else I want to say. So is there something you want to add a little bit more before I read the quote? Because the last thing I'm going to talk about, you might want to inject something there.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
So I found this quote. What are the most powerful words in the universe? The ones you use to talk to yourself. Speak what you want, not what you fear. So I'm going to tell you a story about a woman that I heard this story, and I don't know her. I'm just telling, it is a true story. So she wore glasses, and she didn't want to wear glasses anymore. So for 9 months, every day, she kept saying, I don't need to wear glasses. My eyes are healthy. I have 20/20 vision. For 9 months, every day. She'd put her glasses on. She still needed them. She'd take them off. She couldn't see. Had to put them. For 9 months, she's doing this till one day. She went and put her glasses on, and it was blurry. She took them off. Her vision was 20/20. Give me something. Are you telling me?
I've heard that, and is this where you want me to interject?
Yes.
So there's a thing in the medical field that is known as a placebo, right? And I'm sure there are people who know what they are, but and I'm not saying all of it's true, and that's a very interesting story, by the way, but there was a similar story I heard with somebody who told me that whenever they started to get a headache, they took mints instead of pills and just believed like not spiritually believe, but just, told themselves that these mints that I'm taking are headache pills. They would take them, and within the hour, their headache was gone. I do believe that we are capable of changing ourselves,
Yep.
whether it's through minor illness, through the effect of like placebos, it's an actual thing,
Mm-hmm.
or changing our world that we live every day. Words can be used to build people, build ideas, build structures, build cities, build empires. But it's the decisions made throughout that can either allow that empire to continue to stand or fall. And all it takes is one bad decision to bring an empire down. That can apply to the self.
Right. I mean, I don't know where you and I stand on it, Brian. I think we're kind of on the same wavelength, but I think there's something to this.
There could be.
I think we're so much more
I
than
think
what we are.
I
think we have more potential than we allow ourselves to have. And I think the rabbit hole goes deep, and I think we've been lied to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe it. Well, it's like the same thing with like certain hobbies. Like let's say, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example. Um, hmm. It's like how a hobby can be used to benefit yourself, and you can build upon that to change your way of life. A good example would be like a carpenter, right?
Mm-hmm.
A carpenter can use his skills to either build little things for himself, or he can build off of it and build things for others.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
It's like that.
Yep.
You can either use it to just help yourself, or you can use it to spread
Right.
benefits to others. And it works the same way for ourselves. We can use our minds to either build us up or be selfish and hold it in, and it can be used negatively or positively.
Mm-hmm.
It just starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that example of your story. You telling yourself that can probably, I'd like to see if it could be scientifically proven. I know it's an actual thing in the medical field, the placebo effect, but I do think that people can do things with themselves that can benefit themselves if they put their minds to it.
I think
Well, it's like the same thing with just working out, and you can either sit there and say, I'll never be able to achieve my goals, but once you put your mind to it, all of a sudden you're deadlifting 200 pounds.
Well, if your words are that powerful, Brian, and we are more than what we think, don't you think if you speak those things that eventually your body will line up?
Oh yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah, and going past the seemingly impossible, even with just building yourself up from a dark position of depression.
Okay, then our words have power.
Sometimes the only thing keeping a person in depression is themselves.
Your worst enemy.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it's easy. I struggled with depression for a long time. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I and this is, a little bit of like that personal story of like, when I was in that dark place, I said enough. I said, I can't keep letting myself go down this road because it's going to lead to somewhere worse. But it took effort.
It does. And that's the thing. I'm not saying that your words are just thrown out there and you don't have to put something behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some effort on your part, I think, to make those things come about. Does that make sense?
It always
you can't
takes
just,
effort.
yeah.
Nothing
It's
in
not
life,
frivolous. That's not what I'm saying.
nothing in life comes easy, and no
Right.
one ever said it would.
Right. I'm not saying there's not an effort on your part or something that doesn't have to be done. But I do think words have power.
Mm-hmm.
And again, maybe someday I'll share a little bit more of that story. So this has been interesting. Do you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay, perfect. All right, friends, I'm going to leave you with our quote I always leave with. So believe in yourself, be patient with yourself, and know that your best is always good enough. And again, we can be found on many different platforms like YouTube, Spotify, X, Apple, and many others. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications. And if you want to leave any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at giveemheck@gmail.com, and we will see you hopefully live next weekend.
Absolutely. Hope to see you there. And yep, definitely look out for our announcement on X if you are inclined to follow us there. And if not, you'll get the notification on YouTube if you subscribe. So we look forward to seeing you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.